Thanks for joining us. This is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Solomon Ofem. Here are the top stories. Tinubu urges Muslims to reflect on sacrifice and devotion in Eid al-Kabir message. High cost of transportation and food dampen Eid al-Kabir celebrations. Federal High Court ends manual filing of cases on Lagos Division June 12. 5 arraigned and remanded in Kirikiri for dumping waste in Lagos Canal. On our international scene, Trump and Musk bromance implode in spectacular fashion. And in sports, Spain beat France in 9-goal thriller to reach Nations League final. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. President Bola Tinubu has called on Muslims to reflect on sacrifice, devotion and selflessness, the core value of Eid al-Kabir. The president made this statement in a message personally signed by him, congratulating Nigerian Muslims and the global Muslim Ummah on the occasion of the 2025 Eid al-Kabir celebration. He noted that Eid al-Kabir marked the high point of the sacred first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, a period filled with opportunities for worship and good deeds. According to the president, Eid al-Kabir also reminded Nigerians of their responsibilities beyond faith to show resilience, tolerance, impassion, and dedication to the progress of the country. He assured Nigerians that the toughest days are behind them. We are entering a new era of renewed hope and prosperity that we promised 2 years ago. We may not yet be where we aspire to be, but I urge all Nigerians not to lose hope. Let us hold on to our faith and perseverance. End of quote. The president emphasized that the ultimate objective of his administration's reforms was not just to improve statistics, but to transform lives and set Nigeria firmly on the path of sustainable development. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff (COS) Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede has extended his heartfelt felicitations to the officers, soldiers and families of the Nigerian Army, applauding their steadfast commitment, gallantry and selfless service to the nation. This is contained in his goodwill message issued by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Apollonia Anele, on the occasion of the Eid al-Kabir celebration on Friday in Abuja. The COS hailed the Nigerian Army troops for their resilience in confronting the myriads of security challenges bedeviling the nation. He described the troops as beacons of courage and sacrifice whose effort had continued to inspire national pride and unity. The COAS acknowledged the gradual restoration of peace in many parts of the country, attributing the gains of the unmatched bravery, loyalty and professionalism of the troops. Oluyede reiterated the unwavering resolve of the Nigerian Army to defend Nigeria's sovereignty and combat emerging security threats. He called on troops to remain disciplined, united and mission-focused in the discharge of their constitutional responsibilities. In the same vein, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has urged Lagos residents and Nigerians at large, particularly Muslim faithful, to continue on the path of spirituality and peaceful coexistence at Salah. Sanwo-Olu, in an Eid al-Kabir message by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Boyega Akosile, rejoiced with Muslims across Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, as they celebrate Salah Eid al-Adha, widely regarded as the feast of sacrifice by adherents of Islam. The governor also urged Muslims to imbibe the lessons of the sacrifice made by Prophet Ibrahim and work for the unity, peace and progress of Lagos State and Nigeria. According to him, on behalf of my family and the government of Lagos State, I wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters in the state and in Nigeria a happy and peaceful Eid al-Kabir celebration. Eid al-Adha is a symbolic event in the history of mankind, particularly for Muslims, given the bountiful rewards that followed the patience and perseverance of Prophet Ibrahim, who held on tenaciously to his faith in God despite being afflicted. This symbolic Islamic celebration is a reminder to us that there will always be great rewards when we have imbibed faith and patience in trying periods, persistence in prayers, and tenacity in our beliefs. End of quote. As Nigerian Muslims join their counterparts in the world to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir, prices of food items and transport fares have risen sharply. Also, the prices of various sizes of rams, which is symbolically slaughtered to mark the occasion, have gone up, forcing many Muslim faithful to settle for alternatives. In Ibadan, Oyo State, the soaring food prices have dampened the celebrations, forcing many to rush for last-minute purchases. Many Muslims speaking to VOP News recounted their difficulties in preparing for Eid al-Kabir. Despite saving for months, soaring prices have significantly reduced or increased their budget beyond comprehension. The prices of perishable and non-perishable food items have soared in some major markets in Lagos. At Oyingbo Market, the price of Scott bonnet, popularly known as Atarodo, ranges between 2,000 and 8,000 naira, depending on the quality and quantity as against 200 naira and 500 naira last month. Meanwhile, a bag of Rudo is 200,000 naira, as against 1,100 naira, 110,000 naira, bag of 1,000 naira against 130,000 naira last week. A bag of chili pepper, popularly known as bawa or shombo, now costs 200,000 naira as against 120,000 naira last week, and the basket of tomatoes cost 220,000 naira as against 160,000 naira last week. My two market, a basket of tomatoes, which was sold between 145,000 naira and 160,000 naira in 2024, had risen to 200,000 naira at mile 12, 220,000 naira in Oyingbo Market, while places including Mushin, Lekki, Aja. The Federal High Court of Nigeria says that the final date for the manual filing of a new cases instituted prior who either deliberately or inadvertently understands the amount, claims, or inherently incorrectly declares the number of or type of documents filed, thereby causing an underassessment of prescribed fees, shall be liable to pay the balance due together with a penalty in the sum of 10,000 naira for each finding. Hassan also said that to ensure a seamless transition, all legal practitioners are required to obtain their legal mail accounts before the go-live date. He said this was because possession of a legal mail address was a mandatory prerequisite for access to the e-filing platform. The Chief Registrar also said that a 2-day interactive session on the e-filing system will be conveyed to further shed more light on how it can be done seamlessly. The Lagos State government has arrested and arraigned 5 individuals for indiscriminate refuse dumping in a canal along the Igondo-Iba Road Link Bridge area of the state. The suspects were remanded in Kirikiri Correctional Facility following the arraignment before a magistrate court sitting in Oshodi. According to the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, the men were caught in the act by operatives of the Kick Against Indiscipline KOI Task Force and security agents. They had reportedly arrived at the canal in a lorry and were offloading waste when the enforcement team swooped in and apprehended them. Wahab noted that the arrest comes less than 48 hours after the state government issued a stern warning to residents against flouting environmental laws. The commissioner reiterated that anyone found guilty of illegal waste disposal will face full legal consequences. He further warned that offenders risk up to 3 months imprisonment or a fine of 250,000 naira, or both if found guilty under the Lagos State Environmental Management and Protection Law. Emphasizing the government's commitment to environmental sustainability, the commissioner reminded residents that Lagos has provided private sector participation (PSP) waste operators across all wards to ensure proper waste collection and disposal. You are listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll be right back after this break. just tuning in, this is the World News at 12, right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Time for the analysis segment, and I have Shakiru Omolaja, a legal practitioner and current affairs analyst. Barrister Omolaja, thanks for joining us on the World News at 12.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Barika de Salah, Nigerians.
Barika de Salah to you too. So, it is, as you just alluded to, the Muslim festival, Eid al-Kabir. We're talking about in the world, in a divided world, where we have the rise of far-right Christian nationalism and Islamophobic tendencies, and on the other hand we have jihadists. In Nigeria we have Boko Haram bombing and killing people that do not believe their own version of the Quran. So what do you have to say about that?
Thank you so much for this, your beautiful and nationalistic question. Let me state it without equivocation. Let me say it very boldly, because I know a bit of Islam. I grew up as a Muslim. I know a bit of Christianity. I passed through Christian schools. And I know, I say it emphatically, no good Muslim, no thoroughbred Muslim, no Islamic scholar who is truly an Islamic scholar would ever encourage violence in the name of Islam. For those who care to know, Islam means peace. But people should not forget that you will never have a choice without a Judas. The issue of terrorism in the name of Islam is not Islamic. It is mostly political, or for people who want to use religion to protect their sheer complete criminality. And for those who want to criticize Islam as being so violent, they should please very kindly go back in history and know about the Spanish Inquisition, where a lot of innocent Christians were murdered at the stake. Some were burnt with serious fire, all in the name of Christianity. Our Lord Jesus Christ did not teach anybody to be violent or to burn anybody in the name of Christianity. If you exhibited some unusual powers, you'll be attacked by the Spanish Inquisition as a witch or a wizard. All these persons who promote violence in the name of any religion are not godly, are not of God. Not in the Quran, not in the Bible. In the spirit of today, Eid al-Adha, where Muslims slaughter rams, what are they doing? They are giving thanks to the Lord Almighty. When the command was given to Ibrahim to slaughter Isaac, his only son, to test his faith, and when in total obedience to his creator Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he took his son and he was going to slaughter him. A ram was used to replace the shedding of the blood of the son. Hence, the caution came of that. Let everybody who is alive at this point, if he has the means, offer rams in sacrifice. Share with your neighbors. So, Islam, by whatever coloration, does not promote peace. When you talk about bandits, when you talk about jihadists, you must understand that this is political error. The so-called jihadists are not of Islam. Remember, the so-called jihadists, who really should call terrorists, terrible terrorists. The Nigerian government has actually classified them, the terrorists. You have a very fine name for them now. You call them insurgents. No, it's not. There's a fine name. Rather than call them terrorists, there's a name you give them. I will remember the name now.
Insurgents or bandits.
Bandits. They are not bandits, they are terrorists. They are not doing it in the name of Islam. Let me share with our Christian brothers who may not know, and the extremist Muslims who do not know anything about Islam. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet of Islam, started his mission after he received the call from the era where he was isolating himself and was receiving the Quran. When he started his mission in Mecca, and the people of Mecca were persecuting Muhammad, his followers had to run away from Mecca during the dark ages of Mecca. and they ran to Abyssinia. Do you know the country called Abyssinia today? Ethiopia. When they went to Ethiopia, they were received by a Christian community. The earliest Muslims were welcomed into Ethiopia. The king of Ethiopia asked them about their religion. They recited to him Surah to Miriam, talking about the birth of Jesus Christ. And the king said, "These one are our brothers." They protected them. Later, Muhammad had to go on Hijrah with his followers because of the terrible persecution by the people of Mecca, who had no knowledge of the one God. They now fled to Yathrib, today called Medina. And when they got there, they were received first. Remember, at that time there were no Muslims, but the Christian community in Medina. Christianity predates Islam, and they were living together in peace. And Islam today has a foothold all over the world. Look, what you call jihad, the greatest jihad as enjoined by the Holy Quran, is you start with yourself. Before you seek to conquer your neighbor, or you seek to conquer your community, you first conquer yourself. You wage jihad against your own excesses, your shortcomings. Islam, I repeat, is a religion of peace. The Holy Quran describes who is a Muslim. In Surah to Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 112, that whoever submits himself entirely to the will of God the Almighty and is a doer of good to others. Emphasis, he submits himself entirely to the will of God the Almighty and he is a doer of good to others. Such a person is a Muslim. When Jesus Christ our Lord was called good man, he said, no, not those who call me Lord, Lord, or they were calling him, he said, don't call me good. And they were calling him Lord, Lord. He said, no, don't call me Lord. Only those who do the will of my Father. Look at the expression by Jesus Christ. He says, only those who do the will of my Father. The Holy Quran says, you submit yourself entirely to the will of the Lord Almighty, and you will love your neighbors. You are a doer of good to others. Jesus Christ, the Son of the Lord Almighty. Muslims will rather call him servant of the Lord Almighty. Nomenclature, expression, by whatever you want to call it. It's a matter of what you prefer. Jesus Christ, the servant of the Lord Almighty, sent by the same Allah who sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They preach one thing. They preach the truth. They preach peace. So if you see anybody who in the name of Islam is promoting violence, know that he is an ignoramus. No apologies.
So
he does not know anything about Islam. He's a terrorist.
So the world is increasingly divided today, you know.
Yes.
And just as you've alluded to, Islam is a religion of peace and love. Same as Christianity. But what do you think is responsible for that division right now?
I have told you, my brother, colonialism, divide and rule. People have divided the African man or the African nation. They are pushed us against one another for whatever it is worth. Let me share this with our listeners. I was born Shakiruddin. I was born into a Muslim background. I attended Christian schools. Today, I practice all religions wherever truth is found. I am both a Muslim, a Christian, a traditionalist. Today in my home, to the glory of the Lord Almighty Allah, without being a Muslim, I have slaughtered 2 rams to share with my neighbors.
Some may call you confused person.
No, I'm not confused.
I mean, because we're in a world where you either have to be this or that. If you're in between, people start thinking
journalism should begin to promote oneness, not religion. Have you forgotten that country, either in Asia or that mosque or church? There is a synagogue. I don't know what country it is now. People can Google it. In that synagogue, Muslims also make the call to prayer, which we call Adhan, in that synagogue. Anytime it is for them to take the Adhan, the service in the shop will be stopped temporarily. And then that man with the beautiful voice will take the call to prayer, which we call the Adhan. They coexist. in oneness. Are you there? So journalists must begin to promote peace, one nation in Yoruba land. There's no family where you not find the three things I've mentioned. You find Islam in every Yoruba community. I am a 63-year-old man now, and I should know what I'm talking about. How do you mean confused? I'm not confused. I am focused. I pray, and the Almighty Allah, God Almighty, answers my prayers. But I am not a fanatic. In my family, I have Muslims. So there my brothers are with me, eating ram. We are boys from land. We are eating like we have never eaten before. We do that regularly every year. What are we doing? We are giving thanks to the Lord Almighty. And I share with my neighbors. When it is Christmas, my wife will cook rice, turkey, and share with my neighbors. After all, let me ask those who want to call me confused, those who lack knowledge, please ask, what is the religion of God Almighty? Was Jesus Christ himself a Christian? He wasn't a Christian. He preached God. He taught us to love our neighbors. Rasulullah ﷺ said, who are your neighbors? He wants those who are fanatical, those who will disturb their neighbors, those who will not promote peace. This Muhammad ﷺ says, 40 houses to the north, 40 houses to the south, 40 houses to the east, 40 houses to the west. These are your neighbors. You must not do anything to hurt them. Rasulullah says again, if you want to know how you stand in your society, ask your neighbors. What they say about you is a mirror of who you are.
Okay, Barrister Molaja, time is really against us. Let's go quickly to the second topic of discussion, where the Federal High Court is ending manual filing of cases in Lagos Division on June 12. And after reading the story, and lots of things begin to come into my mind that in a digital age, in a world where we have AI assisting in so many things, why are we still lagging behind in our court system? And then you can see the ripple effect when you go to our overcrowded prison, where you see lots of people in custody awaiting trial, and some of them have been there way longer than the crimes they committed.
Thank you so much for this question. And let me say, you have taught something very, very close to my heart. Our judicial system, I say with all sense of responsibility, is almost a failure. Administration of justice in Nigeria is almost a failure. Mark me, I didn't say totally a failure. Those who are benefited mostly by our judicial system now are the politicians. You have cases pending in the courts for upwards of 20 years, 21 years, 25 years. There's a very popular case that stayed in our courts for almost 27 years. Ariore and Elemo, from the High Court to this, 27 years or more. And the judiciary itself is embarrassed. And let me tell you, the reason why we continue to have the overcrowding, the injustice in our administration of the justice system is because politicians are ever selfish. Last week, what date now? I was before the Federal FCT High Court in Abuja. I was in Abuja before a particular judge. I won't mention his name. And lo and behold, the poor man was writing in longhand. When you address him, you will have to pause for him to record what you have said. Wow. He is a human being. If he was biased, if you say something and he records another thing, there's no way you can fault him because it is not automatically recorded. When you compare your records, maybe you want to go on appeal, it is what the judge has recorded. And it is a sad thing. It is a tragedy for this country.
It is indeed
that
sad.
We are still recording in long hands. On Justice Ilori in Lagos State, some years, over a decade ago, introduced automatic recording system. That is where we should be spending money.
I mean, we have AI for that these days.
No, forget about AI. AI could be manipulated to destroy things. What you need, which Lagos State is doing, but even Lagos State is not 100%. You need judges who can listen to you without taking notes in long hand. Some high courts in Lagos, go to TBS, go to Ikeja, go to some other divisions. Remember, it's not 100%. We are not there yet. They have stenographers.
I mean, we still have a very long way to go, unfortunately.
We have a very long way to go. And what am I therefore saying? I am calling on the federal government of Nigeria. I am calling on all state governments to please pump more than enough money into the judiciary. All our courts must be automated such that if you sneeze, the stenographer will catch it. If you cough, the stenographer will catch it. Nothing escapes the automatic recording. And what do you therefore fight? You fight corrupt judges. Judges who want to manipulate the records of the court. You fight lawyers who want to manipulate the records of the court. So, judiciary should be the number one priority because everybody needs justice. We need security. But if security fails, where do you go? You go to the judiciary for the interpretation, the protection, and promotion of your rights. Again, I said for the optic time, let the federal government, let our legislators, let them know that our judges are dying slowly by having to record manually in long hand. Life is far beyond. We are 10,000 years behind some other countries. Where the judges just listen, they look at the demeanor of the witnesses, they look at the conduct of the lawyers. Meanwhile, they are not challenged with writing down. There is a stenographer or there are stenographers. There are automatic machines recording everything. That is the way to go. They favor political cases. In fact, there was a High Court judge, my Lord Honorable Justice Abiru, who addressed a group of persons on the delay in the judiciary. And I asked him a question. Why do we have so many cases lasting for more than 15 years in the Supreme Court? He acknowledged that things are terribly wrong. They are addressing it. The Justice Nimbar, I think I got the name right, the PJ, Court of Appeal Lagos Division, about 2 weeks ago, called all the chairmen of branches, MBA branches in Lagos, and senior lawyers, senior advocates, registrars, and he declares to them that I am aware that the Court of Appeal Lagos is a home of corruption because senior lawyers are buying dates for their cases. You have cases.
Buying dates.
Waiting appeals.
Wow.
I didn't get that. What did you say?
No, I'm just echoing what you're saying. I mean, buying dates for cases. That's
let me explain what
huge.
they mean by buying dates. You file an appeal in 2024 and you get a date for the hearing of your appeal. Meanwhile, there are appeals in the same court of Appeal, Lagos, as far back as 2000, 25 years ago.
That still haven't gotten any date.
They have not gotten date. Or when they give you a date, they make sure that send the link to you for you to verify this. My Lord, Justice Nimba said, I am aware of the rot in the Court of Appeal, Lagos. I am personally taking charge. That he said, look at the persons he identified or she identified. They will say he for all of them. As being the major culprits in destroying the judiciary, especially the appellate jurisdiction. He says senior lawyers, senior advocates, they are experts. Not all of them. Before people will start attacking me. Not all of them, but a good number of them. You still have your copies in the cloud. So we have a terrible system failure in the judiciary. It is being addressed. Justice Nimbar has vowed that as long as she remains the presiding justice of the Court of Appeal Lagos, things are going to change. She has created an office in her office
we just
for lawyers who are aggrieved.
We just hope politics doesn't come in. Thank you very much.
Politics has always come in.
We have to
end it there. Break the back of politicians and lawyers. Court registrars who are always taking money from lawyers. They are selling dates.
We have to end it here. We have to end it here.
Once again, Nigerians barricade the seller.
Thank you.
One love.
Imploded in spectacular fashion as the US president and his billionaire former aide tore into each other in a very public real-time feud. Trump said in a televised Oval Office diatribe that he was very disappointed with criticisms from his top donor of a big, beautiful spending bill before Congress, before threatening to tear up the tycoon's multi-billion-dollar U.S. government contract. The South African-born Musk hit back live, saying that the Republican would not have won the 2024 election without him, and slamming Trump on his ex social media platform for ingratitude. As the spat got increasingly bitter, Musk also posted that Trump is in the Epstein files, referring to U.S. government documents on disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, who committed suicide in jail while awaiting trial for sex crime.